everybody. Welcome back to Urban Hermit. Cameron Jones here with my host,
Jordan Jones.
It has just been super dreary in Chicago recently, and it is getting annoying. I've been taking our new dog out on many walks, and today I caught sunshine, sleet, rain, and snow. I caught almost every single form of weather there is.
It was pretty shitty today. Today would have been, if I was younger, I would have called in sick to this job, but you can't do that once you're an adult.
Yeah, it's
Might
the
have
worst.
even just quit it.
I've talked
If
about
it was school, I definitely would have missed it.
Oh, definitely would have called in. I've talked about it a bunch, but just because of this dreary weather, I've been watching so many movies. And today in particular, I got in a real nostalgic 90s Nickelodeon mood. But then I remembered that we got rid of Paramount Plus that has all of those. So I was just kind of dreaming today of what I would be watching. What were some of your go-to favorite Nickelodeon cartoons? Because we had a few crossovers because we're 4 years different in age. But
There are some. It is funny though. You trickled up being younger to maybe older shows that I would have watched, but
that's true.
That's a one-way street. It doesn't go backwards. There's no reversing. Once you're 14, you're not going to watch like a 7-year-old show.
I know the
I'll
only
share
one.
I'll share the
crossover
one
ones.
trickle-down crossover that I took from you that actually is good.
Hey Arnold.
No, Hey Arnold, I think was my generation.
Oh, maybe. I feel like that was
And
a little more
extended
mine.
to yours, but I was definitely fine to watch Hey Arnold. So it's Hey Arnold, obviously Rugrats. That was probably still around when you were a kid.
Yeah, that's still going on strong. It's back. They rebooted it.
Sure. I don't know if it got popular with you guys, but definitely Rugrats
Huge with
up
us.
until a certain age. Hey Arnold, love that. That might be my favorite one, actually. Hey Arnold. Rocko's Modern Life, haven't watched as an adult, probably a weird one.
I'm telling you, go back. They did a reboot one like movie episode, but it literally was them commenting on the fact like, wow, we've been gone since like 98. And because I guess the last episode was them launching into space or something. So this episode was them coming back and be like, whoa, everything's changed. But you should check it out because it's actually really funny. I forget what it was on, possibly Netflix.
How long ago? Like recently they did
Yeah,
it?
like 2 years ago, maybe. It was like right before the pandemic, or it was like I think
Weird.
during the pandemic because they had another show that came back too around that time for just like a one-off episode, but I forget what it was. But,
Nice,
but the Rocko's
nice.
Modern
I'll
Life
check
one
it
was
out.
really fun. It was really funny.
Angry Beavers was one that we kind of shared. That was towards the tail end of mine, but Angry Beavers was pretty funny.
I was gonna bring that one up. You did laugh.
But what
at
I'm
that
about
quite a
to
bit.
give you credit for, this was, I think I was too old to watch it. It was like when I was done with those type of cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But Our Real Monsters I really enjoyed at the time. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that one was fun. I mean, it was dark and kind of creepy, and I liked that. Yeah, that one. Was
But
good.
it had a little gross out humor, like worms and boogers and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, and this is more my age group, but I still don't like, and nor will I ever like Ren and Stimpy.
I actually never was a big Ren and Stimpy person either. My friend Chris, our guitar player in the band, is. It was the gross out factor for me a little bit. It was just too gross.
It's too gross for me, and kind of absurd humor. Like I didn't get it then, and I probably won't get it now.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I've never been as much as like into the how to put, I don't know, like the Tim and Eric kind of just weird for weird sake humor.
Yeah.
It can get me sometimes, but I mean, in short doses, very small doses.
I agree. I'm
where I
not
get
the
burnt
biggest
out
Tim
on
and
it.
Eric fan, and people like, oh, I thought you got humor. It's like, well, I get what they're doing. I don't like it.
Yeah, it was never for me. Now, this was a little more because I was into like, skateboarding, X Games, extreme stuff. And it was definitely past your time. But the show Rocket Power on Nickelodeon was pretty big for me. It was just 4 kids in California that had a real deadbeat dad that owned a shack and their Hawaiian uncle. And they just surfed, skateboarded, snowboarded, and did it all.
I very peripherally remember that, but like barely at all. I was to the age where I wouldn't have even sat down to watch it.
Yeah, I get it, but that was right. Oh god, that was in my heyday of like skating too, and being. Oh yeah, it was pretty intense and awesome for me. Rocket Power is definitely up there in my tops.
It was also the heyday for the mainstreaming of X Games. Like now it's in the Olympics, but then was like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 or whatever the snowboarding games were back then. It was like what 2001, 2002,
Something like that.
Yeah. You know what I thought of? This isn't exactly a kids animated TV show, but I was just so mad. I'd actually like to do an online petition. If somebody can do this on behalf of this podcast, get people out there in Reddit or whatever gets the ball moving. We need to bring back one celebrity death match for Will Smith versus Chris Rock.
Well, that'd be kind of fun.
We just need a one-off. And maybe just bring it back. I don't know.
No, because I did try to watch it, and the jokes were just so... heavy hand.
Dumb?
Yeah.
Well, you're 30. You're not 14 or whatever the fuck. You're just, what age you're supposed to be.
It's like what you're expecting of a Britney Spears, like, I'll hit you one more time, baby, followed by like a beat. It's just using their slogans and their catchphrases and like their...
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb.
But I want that just one off Will Smith versus Chris Rock. Yeah. I assume we're going to have Chris Rock win, right?
Although that's what the public would want.
There'd be a twist in there. There's always a twist.
Isn't there always?
As far as Nick animated shows, that's pretty much it. I'd say the big difference between your age group and my age group is you had a lot more animated Disney Disney live shows, whereas I didn't really watch Disney. True. I had some Nickelodeon shows.
Sure, we started getting into that. Do you know what show you missed out on? It was even like maybe kind of getting a little late for me, but Invader Zim. It was the voice of the invader. Well, the whole plot was like they send this really annoying alien to go colonize Earth to get rid of him, but it's like a mission to just like get rid of him, right? So his boss is Kevin from Kids in the Hall, but
I like that. He kind of got pegged by Disney for, like a handful of years.
Well, this is a Nick thing. But it's the same voice as the brown beaver from Angry Beaver. So it's a lot of...
Oh, this is that animated show, right?
So it's,
I remember
So it's just like a lot of, that kind of like screaming thing. But that one's actually really funny, too.
But just by the nature of it being Kevin, you're like, I like this a lot more than if it wasn't.
100%. But like, honestly, I checked it out like even like a few months ago. But it generally makes me laugh. Like it's kind of... The timing on it's just funny. It is. That's
what's nice about they're essentially like after school shows, these Nick and Disney shows, and that's what differs from like Adult Swim type shows. Those are made with adults in mind. These are still made for kids, I think, in mind ultimately. Mm-hmm. But some of those do have legit funny timing. And,
yeah, they really do.
That works.
And that was one of them. Angry Beavers and Invader Zim. They had just good timing that as an adult, like... It doesn't have that.
It makes them still hold up. That you're like, oh, that was actually like legitimately funny.
Like Celebrity Deathmatch had worse humor than a lot of these kids shows.
Yeah, but Cameron, in their defense, it was clay goddamnation.
That's true.
That probably took a lot of work. You can't
honestly thinking about it and knowing just from our movie podcast that probably took so long to make a single episode.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it wasn't the smoothest. It wasn't like a film, but it was still claymation. And this was, if it was about the end of the 90s, early 2000s, I doubt much was being rendered on computers.
True.
Like, if at all.
So just kind of speaking of 90s things, I was also thinking about this earlier. I feel like we had a lot more like Planet X, like just kind of like extreme adventure, like laser tag, mini golf, like bumper car kind of vibe things going on in like late 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. Did you ever have a fun game of laser tag?
I've only played laser tag once, full disclosure.
I've played a couple times, and every time it was really lame. And there was just like a teenager working it who was like the one main time I can remember, the whole goal. Well, one, you couldn't run because it was like dark and it was a safety issue. So you just had to walk inside of it. And the whole goal wasn't to shoot each other. It was like to aim at each other's bases. So like there kind of wasn't a lot of a
yeah. Point. I mean, if you take out the fun and the imaginary of it, yeah, it's just kind of touching someone's sensor. But you don't have to be like that. You can roll. You can do what you want. You're not going to get kicked out unless you look like a hoodlum. Were you wearing Jinkos? Is that why you had so much trouble with the man?
It was right around the time. I'm sure I didn't look the classiest, but I'm sure the teenager working at the Planet X also wasn't like,
I only played one time. It was when I went to watch state wrestling as a 7th grader. We played at a mall. I got 3rd out of 1 on 30. I was real proud of myself, and it made me feel like the closest I'll ever get to being in Hook's version of Neverland.
Nice.
So I was into it,
You know what? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, though, Mark did have like a pretty good at-home set.
Oh, at-home laser tags suck. I don't condone them.
Well, it didn't have the greatest range, but the setting, the environment, the conditions just made it the best game ever. So he lived right next to a water tower, but it was the kind that had like many lakes coming down, not just like, one big tube. So there's lots of cover. There was like, the snow was kind of melting, but it was there and icy. And like, there was a foggy mist out there, so there was like a lot of cover.
Oh, so it was nice. Okay.
So the environment, it just made it for like a perfect, just...
Well, I do believe you guys bought laser tag as adults, like in our mid-20s at your house, I don't know, a couple times ago.
Incorrect. We leaned real hard into Nerf. Nerf for nothing, brother.
Was it Nerf? I'm pretty sure it was laser. Whatever.
No, it was. One time Nerf. It's just Nerf has changed a lot, and it's
one time I got pretty drunk down there, and you turn off the lights and turn on strobe lights, and then through Sonos pump like Vietnam sounds.
Okay.
I remember that a couple times.
We weren't pumping strobe light, but everything else about that's true. I'm not going to lie. Like, maybe one of the most scared in my life was us just playing Nerf and me hiding in the shower, knowing that there was someone cowering, like, in the dark in the corner of my living room with jungle noises and helicopter noises.
Yeah, there
like,
was lots of jungle
blaring
noises.
through the house. It really did make it intense. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it makes you want to... I don't know much about him, but live the Rob Dyrdek lifestyle and just have a warehouse full of shenanigans.
Oh God! I mean,
Like
that's what everyone's dream was when we were watching the show. Just like he just gets to do whatever he wants and makes money off of it. It was
He
great.
makes a lot of money. I think he's really rich.
Yeah,
but
well,
it might
because
be
he
a lot
also
of
said that
merchandise.
he was making like 80% of the ad money off his TV show too, or something. Like he signed a crazy deal where he made a lot of money off MTV.
The big problem is if we tried to do that lifestyle, I just don't have enough energy and youthfulness for like kids to want to watch me. You know what I mean?
A lot of our ideas would just be come into the house, which I mean, because kind of what he brought a lot of things to the Fantasy Factory. I'm sure we could have things delivered to us.
Picture the Fantasy Factory, but as with host David Cross. It's just not having the same wow value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of ours would just be like, hey, so we rented a movie in our home theater and we're watching that again. Yeah. So like, we
got a skate park over there, but only Cameron can kind of skate. So
oh, my wrist.
We don't use it too much. You guys want to see us? We got this full court basketball court. You want to see me and Cameron shoot free throws? Have a free throw contest?
This is kind of a fun thought idea then. If you had a Rob Dyrdek Fantasy Factory, what are some things you would put in there?
A home theater, a podcast studio, and a half court basketball court. I don't even want to.
Why not go full length?
Because then you got to play full length.
Or you get mini games going on at different times. I think you honestly just might want the option of having the space of a full basketball court out there.
I agree.
What if we want to play dodgeball or something? Granted, we're thinking this is inside of a warehouse or something. But
what fun thing? I think you got to have a foam pit of some sort.
Yeah, even if you aren't into
do whatever,
sports,
like
you got to jump into something. Or even if you just want to zip line in and let go off like a handlebar, you need a foam pit. That's good.
It would be a waste for me to put anything skateboarding or BMXing, you know what I mean? But a foam pit seems like that could make sense for something. And then, even though I don't play it, a band space, just have instruments.
Yeah, why not? Just have some music things around. That seems fun.
Just so that I know that I'm wasting that from ever making music for the world. And then Cameron can come over and strum it. Like, I'm not going to probably learn an instrument still.
I mean...
Something golf related, like one of those simulators?
I was thinking that too. One of the simulators where you just tee off, maybe that'd be fun. I mean, I'm sure soon VR will just get to a point where, you'll have a full course within the space of, you just hitting people in the face in a 5-space area.
Yeah, just like, I don't know. I think there's some things that as cool as VR will get, it still sucks, It's still not the same. Like and you can count me probably being wrong in this. I'm still going to play video games. It's not, you think video games will just switch to VR eventually?
Yeah. I mean, I've already shown you that video where like in VR, you can create your own bedroom, your own setting, and you can play a game on any system from like classic Nintendo to current.
Okay, so how about you? I listed my things. What I assume you're probably more.
I mean, honestly, pretty similar. I'm definitely going to want just like a jam area, a bunch of instruments, like a live stage area. I mean, I'm also going to have more of like a recording area probably as well. I mean, Rob Dyrdek had that in the Fantasy Factory. They had their engineering studio, but like, I don't think I'm gonna. Theirs was even like more legit than I would even want to make it. I'd pretty much just transfer mine over.
There's things I would have for aesthetics that I probably wouldn't use a lot, like toss a pool table,
rock climbing,
but I don't
wall,
play too.
Never going to use that, but it's nice to know that someone could. Archery, just some sort of shooing range area.
Yeah, I thought about that
something
too.
like that.
Maybe something paintball-y.
Oh, I also had that funny enough in my notes that like, you always end up getting pinged. You always end up getting it kind of hurt, but paintballing was the shit when we were younger.
So that's actually not like a real regret, but I just never went paintballing and all of my friends did. And my thought process was, mom and dad will never buy me a paintball gun.
Right.
But 1, I could have just bought my own. 2, they might have bought me one. And 3, everybody had like 4 of them.
That was my biggest argument right there for is everyone who was into paintballing had a bunch of gear and spare parts and stuff. Like I went a couple times with my friends off of like their reject guns that were all still really nice guns because they were into it. But I mean, it was a ton of fun. We were shooting a video for history class, so we were also reenacting a World War II battle to make it kind of just a little more fun. but we took a lawnmower and got a bunch of cardboard and made it into a tank. So,
Nice.
Yeah, I know. But it was actually pretty hilarious because the person driving it, like the paintballs went right through it. And they were driving.
It hit 'em.
Yeah, they were driving on the slowest like possible speed. So they were just getting pegged from both sides by everybody.
So, I mean, obviously, I could paintball. I'm an adult. I can do.
Now it's airsoft. That's what the people are in. Now it's switched. People are
What's that?
like an airsoft gun. So like a little plastic BB.
But it hits you still?
Yeah.
And hurts?
Yeah, I mean, no, it's very similar to paintball, only it's more accurate from what I understand or something, and the guns are more realistic or something. I don't know. Exact same vibe, only it's airsoft now.
Cool. It seems like I missed my boat, and now I'm realizing it's not like sowing any wild. What is it? Sowing your oats, sowing wild oats.
Yeah.
Just because I might have a kid in 4 months, it's like, what am I going to do with this time that I got? One, I got to prepare for like, I don't know, lots of shit. But I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I mean, that
seems
that
like
is
I'm
maybe
getting less and less.
something to look forward to, though. Some of these things that now it's not too cool, but maybe he gets into paintballing and airsoft, and that's your excuse to, at least for a little while, take him to the court. I don't know what you call an airsoft, the arena. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd want it to be with my friends though.
Yeah, you could just invite your friends, just try to get them real into hanging out with you and the guys.
That's true. I mean, although most of my friends have kids now, except you and Mark, pretty much.
I got just a bunch of fur kids around now. Ugh. I've always said don't have more pets than humans in the house, and we are at the threshold, 3 for 3.
No, you're outnumbered.
No, I'm not. Why?
You're 1,
Mm-hmm.
Nicole's 2, and then you have 3 pets.
And then her brother.
Oh, okay. Well,
3 for 3.
There you go.
I know. If we get a fish or a bird, it's all over.
Those don't count. Those aren't pets. Those are decorations that you have to feed.
Birds have always grossed me out as pets, but I'm seeing so many on TikTok now, and the ones that can talk seem kind of fun. They're kind of intelligent. They have personalities.
The older I get, I think it's birds. Birds are the most. I'm trying to use a word that doesn't sound bad. I'm just gonna say enslaved.
Okay.
Like they shouldn't be.
What, just
they
because
shouldn't
they
be
can fly
domesticated.
and they're in cages and that sort of thing?
Yeah. That's it. I mean, a dog, a cat.
But they can say things
their
like
lives are
kiss the
much
baby
better.
and boop your beak and stuff, and isn't that fun?
Yeah, and then they just sit. I mean, I guess a guinea pig, anything caged, maybe. I feel bad for.
I get it. I mean, just kenneling our dog over the night so he doesn't shit in the house, and I know it will if I don't, but I feel bad doing it. I just shit in the house, whatever.
And fish, I just don't get the point.
They're pretty.
I don't know.
It's a looks thing. It is just
it's a decoration. It's moving art,
live
which I
painting.
get. That's exactly what it is. But I think to be considered a pet, you must be able to pet it. So I guess technically some people are probably petting their birds, maybe even their lizards, but you can't.
That's
pet
also
a fish.
a problem with that. Like I can pet a lizard, but I don't want to touch that. It's scaly. It's gross. Like
I agree. I don't want to either.
I just want it to be furry. My fiance, she's okay. I would go as far to say as likes hairless pets, and it's just not my vibe. I don't want like a just skin animal up on me, you know?
I mean, I could be okay. I don't know. Do hairless? I don't know. I've never seen a hairless dog, but like a hairless cat, I could probably get behind if it was chill.
Yeah, I mean, same with a dog. It's just like I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
I mean, we've definitely talked about this, but have you seen, like a BuzzFeed or memes or Reddit or something? All these animals that are hairless.
I mean, is it just
like a hair
is it them with mange or something wrong? Or
no, for whatever reason they're hairless, like a hairless bear. Hairless like coyote, like all these different animals.
Yeah, and they always
right?
look terrifying, and they always look like chupacabras and cryptic creatures.
Yeah, most of them are scary, but the one that's most disturbing is a hairless like chimpanzee or something. Like they are.
Oh yeah, that always looks terrifying. Do you know what also threw me off? A raccoon, because like I mean, there's just so much fluff to it that it just looked like a giant rat with like human arms, which was off-putting.
Yeah, I didn't like that one. Oh, I can't remember what. Maybe just a hairless rat. I don't remember, but there was a couple disturbing. I'm sure we've all gone through it. Oh, you know what animal I saw on the way home driving through Northeast Iowa / Western Illinois?
What's that?
Had to stop outside of the touristy town, the historic town of Galena.
Mm-hmm.
Had to slam on the brakes. What animal do you think crossed our car's
I
path?
mean, I'd like to say deer, but that's obviously too.
It is not a deer.
What is it?
It was a bobcat.
Whoa!
We had to slam on the brakes for a bobcat. Now, this isn't like a cougar or anything. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it was a bobcat. It was definitely a very, very, very big cat. It wasn't a deer, and it wasn't like a raccoon or anything domestic. So we looked it up. I've heard sightings of bobcats around this area, and it's common to see them.
Yeah, it's very hilly and foresty. It does seem like the place you'd see them, so that makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy, though.
We definitely sell a bobcat, and then that abrupt break made Megan sick, and then she had to throw up down the road because she's pregnant.
That's a bummer.
But but we got through it.
So speaking of just relationships and marriage stuff, I had to go to the courthouse for something, and we were also just looking up some things for our marriage life.
I'm not here to pry. I don't need to know why you're at the courthouse. People go for all kinds of reasons.
It's actually funny that you say that, because immediately Nicole and I walk in the door, and the cop there that's like running you through the metal detector looks at me and says, "Marriage?" Again, he like gives me like a little wink. I'm like, yeah. And then he leans in and he said, "I can pull the fire alarm and give you a running head start if you want." And like gave me a little elbow. And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's fun."
See, in this story though, you turned back and he dissolved and he was a ghost the whole time.
And then I ran. But then funny enough, later when we were getting up to the desk, another cop, I don't know why it was full of cops just going around just joking with people, but same thing. And the cop's like, "What are you in here for?" And I'm like, "Oh, looking at just have to do some marriage certificate stuff." He's like, "Oh, I mean, like, what are you doing? You gonna treat her right?" And he, like, I just got grilled, like, you're gonna be a good husband, kind of. I'm like,
"Can you say no?"
Well, yeah, but like 2 or 3 different cops all came up to me and be like, "Oh, the missus, like, oh, I'll get you out of here if you want me to arrest her." Kind of like 2 different times. Isn't that fun?
Oh wait, so you just like applied for a marriage license?
Yeah, well, yeah, we were also just we had to Nicole's.
Hey, I'm not here to pry. I'm not here to pry.
But in the research here, found out a few things. I remember when you were getting married, they were asking a lot, "Are you guys related? Are you cousins? Are you cousins?"
Oh, that was just through the Catholic Church.
That is just the Catholic Church, because it turns out in Cook County in Illinois, first cousins over 50 can marry.
Oh, so all you got to do is wait another 20 years.
You have to get to about 50. You have to cross your fingers that you can't breed anymore. Then the state will let you do it.
Oh, so if you're sterile, well, I guess.
I think that's more why you have to wait till over 50. I think they're just not wanting you to procreate as first cousins.
You know what? I'm behind that. First cousin seems pretty close, but
it's your cousin. Yeah, that's your cousin.
But I suppose if you can't breed, you know.
Yeah, I think there's more social issues also in there. Also, on top of that, I learned that teens 16 in the state, Cook County, can marry with a permission slip, and both parents also have to show up to court for the marriage.
Wait. You're just saying like 2 16-year-olds, or with your parents' consent, a 6-year-old could, for instance, marry someone that's like 42.
I think.
Not that I condone that. You're just saying 2 underage people can get married if both of their parents consent?
Yes. At the age of 16, you can marry another teenager as long as both of your parents show up to the court.
That's gross.
Yeah, and you're more grossed out than that, and the first cousins can marry as long as they can't make a kid.
Well, I get that. Love is love, Cameron, but 16-year-olds shouldn't be getting married. I don't think cousins should be.
No, they really
but
shouldn't.
At least they should have to wait till they're 50.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? If you're going to really commit to it by the time you're 50, I'm like, whatever,
we gave it 50 years and we still really want to do it.
We want to get married. We waited this whole time. We did have 2 horrible marriages in between.
I thought you were going to say horribly mutated children, but before this.
No. I'm saying if you're in love with your cousin, it's going to affect all your other relationships leading up to your marriage at 50.
You'd assume. Yeah.
I don't know. Especially, yeah, it definitely would. I don't think it's good for... Who am I to say? I don't know. If you're listening and you're married to their cousin, mazel, wait. No, I actually disagree. This is gross. You shouldn't marry your cousin. I don't know what I'm saying here. Yeah, don't marry your... I'm against marrying your cousin, I guess.
Cool. That's the Urban Hermit stance on marrying your cousin. Do you have anything else?
I feel like Cameron came here and tricked me. I feel like...
I just gave you a fact and you're like, that ain't so bad.
Well, I just like that there's parameters. I guess the blanket statement would be is you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Shouldn't marry your cousin. What does that say to all the gay legislator that was out there? They're like, what's next? You're going to marry... And they'd always go to Anna. It's like, no, you can legally marry your cousin at 50. But like, that's unreal.
And if the horse consents in the state of Cook County, it's totally fine.
Yeah, well, we live in a weird place. I don't know how to transition to this. I was just going to ask more questions.
That we do. I'm actually out of topics for this week. You have anything?
cult stuff.
What's going on with you, man? Just join a kibbutz. I don't think you want to join a cult. I think the only good part of the cult is the leader up until they've done enough drugs where they believe it wholly, and then they order mass suicide.
Yeah,
that's what it's gonna be.
I'm done talking about cults. I just walk past Scientology building all day and I think about it now on a daily basis. So I'm like, maybe I'll bring that up, and I got to stop bringing it up.
Oh, well, that's how they get you.
I watched like an A&E documentary back in high school with Nate, and it was all about cults. And we're like, oh, sweet, we're gonna watch this because it's back in the day, and you watched whatever.
Little did you know, if you waited 10 years, that's all that would be on every streamer.
Oh, yeah. Like, we were not ahead of our time. We were just in our time, right? So this whole time, we're like, oh, it looks like they're doing it like from a historical starting older to more recent. I'm like, can't wait to get to the Haley Comets cult. The Haley Bob Comet people, you remember those guys? Yeah, they never got to them. They just didn't address them at all. And we wasted, I wouldn't say wasted a whole day, but really invested some time.
Oh, really waiting for it. Oh, I was also kind of thinking about this earlier. What is the most scared you have ever been by a movie?
I truly know the answer.
I mean, if it's, I'm not even saying like maybe just too young, because I know that you watched it too young and that one really stuck with you. But maybe just as a movie you've watched, you've been like, old enough to comprehend something that genuinely scared you.
Well, I have a similar one. It's a little bit older, but I think I saw it at an age. So I'll say this: The Omen really, really stuck with me. Like, for a very long time. I think I saw the original one when I was like a sixth grader. So not crazy young, but for whatever reason, that one scared me quite a bit. Actually, the difference between the scariest movies to me are like God and the Devil, Good and Evil. Those ones scare me much more than horror or anything else. So that's my answer. Truly, The Omen scared me to the point when they remade it when I was like 18. A group of friends went to it. I'm like, I don't want to go to this, but I did.
Overall, it's not the scariest movie, but The Others. There's one scene in particular, and it's when Nicole Kidman.
But I am your mother.
Well, that one's creepy, but it's when Nicole Kidman is like searching a room because she thinks someone's hiding under sheets over old furniture, and she's tearing them off. And she tears one off, and it's just like an out of focus picture, and it's like these eyes just staring at you. But like that in the dark, when I was kind of younger, scared the shit out of me. Ugh.
I think The Others really is disturbing.
It is a very creepy movie.
What it does well is it plays on, rather than jump scares or anything, it's just all building up anticipation. They really don't have that many scares outside of "But I Am Your Daughter" or whatever. And then the really scary part of that movie, or disturbing, is when you see all the family photos of dead people.
True. Terrifying.
And then obviously the twist is a twist. But yeah, that one did get me as a kid. Too. Yeah, that one was scary. But for the most part, you watch a lot more scary movies than me, or horror movies, so I don't know.
I'll tell you what, this one got me when I was younger. This came out when like I was in middle school, maybe like 7th grade. Darkness Falls. It's like a twist on the Tooth Fairy, but the whole plot is kind of, if you see her, you will never be able to leave light again. Like she like just lives in shadow, and she like tears you apart. So like there was a while after that movie where I kind of got afraid of the dark again, where I was like, I can't be in the shadows.
If we had a radio show now, like a morning drive radio show, I would have been clicking my button, but you were born in the dark, like left and right there. And I don't know that I just like, that would have been a reoccurring thing for me. I've never seen that movie, but I gotta take your word for it.
Now it wouldn't be scary because it was just like, whatever late 2000s movie, but
I'm gonna throw you a movie you probably won't remember, and it was a miniseries on TV, but I saw too young, and it really did scare me. But I've never brought this up. Tommy Knockers really scared me. Tommy Knockers knocking on your door. It's like it's a Stephen King miniseries.
I vaguely remember it, but I mean,
I think it stars Jimmy Smits.
Oh, doesn't ring a bell at all. No, I was about to say maybe that. No, don't remember that at all.
Okay, well, I guess we've run out of everything.
I got nothing else this week. Thanks for checking out Urban Hermit. Check out all the podcasts on the Majestic Jam Network. You can catch our Patreon, What You Watching, at Cult Classics Pod. You can also catch Cult Classics. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next week.